Right, so in this one, we're setting up Azure Communication Services as an SMTP relay. If you're still using legacy SMTP to send emails from your apps, honestly, this is the way forward. It's secure, it scales properly, and the pricing is genuinely hard to beat. Let's jump in. First things first, we need a resource group. Nothing fancy here, just a container to keep everything organized. So we'll head into the Azure portal, create a new resource group, and give it a sensible name. Now we're going to create the email communication service itself. Search for it in the marketplace, pick your subscription and the resource group we just made. One thing to note here, it's listed as a global service, but your data is actually stored in whichever region you select. So for us, that's the UK. Hit review and create, and let it deploy. Alright, now the fun part. We need to add our custom domain. You've got two options here. You can use a free Azure subdomain, which is fine for testing, or set up your own domain. We're going with our own because, well, you want emails coming from your brand, not from some Azure subdomain nobody recognizes. So Azure gives us a TXT record to prove we own the domain. Pretty standard stuff. Copy the verification value, hop over to your DNS provider, doesn't matter if it's Cloudflare, GoDaddy, cPanel, whatever you're using, and add a new TXT record. Paste in the value, set the TTL to 3600, save it, and come back to Azure to verify. This usually takes a few seconds, but can sometimes take a minute or two to propagate. With the domain verified, we've now got 3 more DNS records to add. First up, SPF. This is a TXT record that basically tells email servers, yes, Azure is allowed to send emails on behalf of this domain. Then we've got 2 DKIM records. These are KNAME records, and they handle cryptographic signing of your emails. It sounds complicated, but it's literally just copy, paste, save. Do all 3, come back to Azure, and let it verify. And there we go. All verified. SPF, DKIM, the lot. What this means is that emails sent through this service will actually land in inboxes rather than spam folders. Proper authentication makes a massive difference. Next step. We need to create the actual communication services resource. This is separate from the email communication service we made earlier. Think of it as the main hub that handles the SMTP relay side of things. Same drill, marketplace, search for communication services, create it in our resource group. Now for authentication. We need to register an application in Microsoft Entra. This is what your app will use to authenticate when sending emails over SMTP. Go to Entra, App Registrations, New Registration. Give it a name. Once it's created, we need to generate a client secret. Really important, copy this secret straight away because you won't be able to see it again. Grab the client ID as well. Back on our Communication Services resource, we need to grant permissions. Go to Access Control, add role assignment, and search for Communication and Email Service Owner. This is the built-in role that gives our app everything it needs. Assign it to the Entra application we just registered. Nearly there. Under the email section, click Domains and connect our verified domain. This links everything together: the email service, the domain, and the communication service. Last bit of configuration: SMTP usernames. This is where you define who the emails come from. Add a new username, something like Do Not Reply, and link it to your Entra application. This maps your SMTP credentials to the Azure service. Let's make sure it all works. Azure has a handy test email feature built right in. Pop in a recipient, add a subject, write something in the body, and hit send. If everything's configured properly, that email should land within seconds. And there it is, working perfectly. So from a code perspective, you just use standard SMTP libraries. The endpoint is smtp.azure.com.net, port 587, with STARTTLS. Your username is the SMTP username you set up, and authentication goes through your Entra app credentials. Dead simple to integrate into any existing application. And that's the lot. You've now got a fully configured SMTP relay through Azure Communication Services. No more legacy protocols, proper authentication, and the pricing. You get 100 emails free, and after that it's around 33p per 1,000. Genuinely hard to argue with that. If this helped you out, drop a like and subscribe.